Hi, it's Kathy Limata. Hey, are you enjoying this story? I am. I'm trying to predict what will happen. I know he's in trouble, but now it seems like he's in trouble twice. I wonder if there's any way for him to fix his problem. I'm about to read chapter 12 of Hank Zipzer's I Got a D in Salami. He really does have a D in salami. He has 3 D's inside the salami. I think we might have figured out where they got the title. Chapter 12. May I be excused? Oh, that's right. Our last chapter ended with Mom talking about the report card salami being served to the potential investor, that they might eat his report card meat. Ooh. May I be excused? He found this out at the table, the dinner table. I asked, trying to sound calm, which I wasn't. Don't you want dessert? My mom asked. I made carrot pudding. Wow, Mom, I said, you really know how to use those vegetables. It's hard to say no to carrot pudding. But I've got to run, if you know what I mean. I glanced toward the bathroom. Parents never say no to the bathroom. Of course, darling, my mom said. I shot out of my chair like a rocket. I ran down the hall. My socks had no traction on the wood floor, and I went flying like a speeding skater right through the bathroom door. I landed on my tushy. Wedged between the toilet and the tub, I pulled myself up and turned on cold water in the sink. I had to splash my face with cold water to stop my cheeks from twitching, which they do when I panic. I need to think clearly. Too many thoughts were running through my head all at once. Why hadn't I just told my parents that I got a lousy report card in the first place? Why did Robert have to throw my report card in the meat grinder? Wait a minute. Didn't he just tell Robert that he was a genius for doing that yesterday? He's changed his mind, huh? Why did Robert have to throw my report card in the meat grinder? What was he thinking? What's wrong with just a regular wastebasket? Come on, Robert. Would it be against the law for Robert to do a normal thing for once in his life? I splashed more water on my face. My cheeks had pretty much stopped twitching, except for the right one. It still moved every so little now and then. Lying was hard, I thought. You have to keep everything straight. And that's hard for me normally, to keep everything straight. Then I had a radical idea. Maybe I should just tell my parents the whole truth, that I'm not cut out for school. No matter how hard I try, I'm just never going to make it as a student. My mom would be sad. My dad would be mad. But I'd tell them, hey, you got Emily. She's brilliant. I'm wired differently, and my wires are crossed. Just thinking about it made my cheeks twitch again. They twitched and twitched. The cold water wasn't helping. I needed to clear my head and sort this out. I slipped out of the bathroom and went to the telephone. I dialed Frankie's number. His dad answered. Hello, Dr. Townsend, I said. This is Hank. I need to talk to Frankie. He's just finishing dinner, Dr. Townsend said. Can he call you back? Normally he could, I said, but I have an emergency here. Not the kind that needs an ambulance or anything. It's just that it really can't wait. It could wait, but it shouldn't. Please? That sounds important, Hank, said Dr. Townsend. Hold on. When Frankie got to the phone, I blurted out, Emergency meeting! Basement! Now! Pass it on! I slammed down the phone and ran into my room and pulled on my shoes. There was something else I needed, but I couldn't remember what it was. It had just been on my mind, and now it was under it. I looked around, hoping it would come back to me. I don't have time for forgetting now. What was it? What was it? Then, thank goodness, I saw my sweatshirt hanging on the back of my chair. That's it, my sweatshirt. I knew I wanted to take it because the basement, where our clubhouse is, can get cold in November. I'm going downstairs to Frankie, I called to my parents. I'll come with you, said Mom. no. You will? No, I mean, why? It's yoga class night, my mom said. Frankie's mom's holding her yoga class in the living room. Oh, right. We're going to learn the new position. It's called Cobra. Sounds dangerous, I said. Don't bite yourself. My mom laughed. I thought about what a nice, cheerful person she is, and for a minute considered telling her about my grades right then and there. Maybe she'd be real sweet and understanding. Then my dad walked into the room. I'm going to play Scrabble with Emily, my dad said. Hank, do you want to join us? Right. Me play Scrabble? The guy who's got a D in spelling would play Scrabble with a girl genius and a crossword puzzle nut dad? Sometimes I think my father doesn't have an idea who I am. Any thought of telling my parents about my grades went right out the window. I escaped into the hall and pushed the elevator button. It always takes a while to get up to the 10th floor. When it landed, I pulled the door open and was face to face with our neighbor, Mrs. Fink. Why, thank you, Hank, she smiled as she got out. I noticed with relief that she was wearing her false teeth, which she doesn't always do. You're growing up to be such a gentleman. My mother came into the hall just as Mrs. Fink stepped out of the elevator. Hello, Randy, Mrs. Fink said. Uh-oh. This was bad timing because Mrs. Fink's hello, Randy, usually turns into a 45-minute conversation about what eating spicy food does to her digestion. I had a crisis on my hand, and there was no time for intestines talk. Mom, you don't want to be late for class, I said, pulling her into the elevator. The Cobra is waiting. As we were riding down the 4th floor, my mom looked at me funny. You seem nervous tonight, she said. Is anything going on? Nope, I said, not looking her in the eye. She pointed to a spot on her hand and smiled. I know you like the back of my hand, Buster. Something's cooking. Thank goodness the elevator jerked to a stop on Frankie's floor, and I didn't have to answer. Frankie yanked the door open and was about to say something when he saw my mom. Instead, he just started to gesture politely to the front door. Go right in, Mrs. Z, he said. There's great karma in there. You can count on Frankie to be cool in hot situations. After my mom was out, he jumped into the elevator with me. I pushed the B button about 10 times, as if that was going to get us to the basement faster. Sometimes I do that. I push the button many times, thinking it's going to help. Do you? Have you ever been in an elevator? We don't have many up here. Is Ashley coming? I asked. On her way, he said. Finally, we reached the basement. As we walked out of the elevator, I could tell that someone had just finished doing the laundry. It was warm and the air smelled like soap suds and bleach. We passed the laundry room and went into the storage room that we used as our clubhouse. Ashley was waiting with a chocolate chip cookie for me and an oatmeal pecan one for Frankie. What's the big emergency? She said. I dropped myself onto the sofa that lined the walls of our clubhouse. You're not going to believe this. You know the batch of soy salami report card that Robert dropped my report card into? Tell me not to think what I'm thinking, Frankie said, because what I'm thinking is bad thinking. I can't, Frankie, because I'm thinking what you're thinking. Will you guys stop thinking and talk to me? Screamed Ashley. My mom decided to send her original batch of salami to Mr. Gristiliano tomorrow, I said. I think I'm starting to think what you're thinking, Ashley said. She twirled her long ponytail around her finger the way she does when she's worried. When she's wearing pigtails, she twirls both of them, one in each hand. I took a deep breath and spilled out the whole ugly truth. It's bad, guys. The salami that is being delivered at 10:30 tomorrow morning is the same salami that has my report card mushed and squished in it. Maybe it's not so bad, Ashley said, trying to sound upbeat. Maybe the paper got ground up into little bitsy bits, and you can't even tell it's there. Ashwina, said Frankie, there's no way all the paper could get lost in salami. We're talking a manila envelope, a report card, and a letter written on legal size paper. I assume it was legal size. It's got to be. When you have so many nasty things to say, you use legal size paper. Legal size means bigger than we normally use in school. I put my head in my hands. I'm sure the whole batch is ruined, I said. Now my mom will lose the sale. Her hopes for the dreams for the future of lunch meats will go right down the drain. And it will be my fault. This was a total nightmare. I single-handedly putting the crunchy pickle out of business. I was still in trouble. Mrs. Adolph was going to want to see a signed report card from my parents. Where was I supposed to get it from? I'd have to scotch tape 20 slices of salami together, and even then, you'd have to be real good at reading meat to decipher it. I'm such a loser, I said to no one in particular. Frankie flopped down next to me. Snap out of it, Zip, he said. You're not going to just sit there and let things happen. That's not the Hank Zip-zer I know. Breathe. Breathe, Zip. Let the oxygen flow and promote thinking. There's no way out of this, I said. It's not like we can just find our way over to Mr. Gristiliano's apartment, wherever that is, and happens to arrive just as Carlos is delivering the tray and bump into him so the salami goes all over the street and gets eaten by a dog that has to be replaced by a new batch. Actually, why not? Came a familiar, uninvited voice from the door. Who do you think that uninvited person is? You're right, it's Robert. We whipped around and there he was, Robert. When Napoleon invaded Russia, he took the shortest route through France, said Robert. Who's Napoleon? I snapped. He's dead, said Robert. But when he wasn't, he was a very short French general. Great, Robert. What does a short dead French general have to do with a platter of soy salami that is polluted with my rotten report card? I was just using it as an example of basic military strategy, Robert said. Napoleon knew that the simplest plans are always the best. The boy may have a point, said Frankie, getting off the couch and starting to pace. We cut off the delivery. We seize the polluted salami. We destroy it. We replace it with a good batch. Frankie was excited now. Do you really think this could work? I asked. We're going to make it work, Frankie said. And we'll make it work with style. Don't forget, Zip. We are the Magic 3. So that means we'll add our own magic touch to this plan. We'll make sure your mom gets the biggest order possible. You mean we get to do our magic show? Ashley asked. I think we should pretend we are the entertainment sent by the Crunchy Pickle to perform feats of magic for the guests as they munch, Frankie said. Cool, Ashley said. I'll do my cherry stem trick. Let's hold on to that for a different performance, Ashwina, answered Frankie. The way I see it, this performance will cover the salami tray with my cape. True, my cape will smell like salami for a couple months afterwards, but I'm willing to make the sacrifice. Once we're in the Gristiliano's apartment, we'll gather everyone around and zengawing! I'll pull off my cape and the salami will appear. Then we'll just sit back and wait for the big order to come on in. Ashley said, I love it, I said. Ashley gave Frankie a high five. Even Robert nodded his approval. You tell your pal Napoleon he's got nothing on me, Frankie said to Robert. Actually, I would tell him. But as I already pointed out, he's dead, Robert reminded us. It's a brilliant plan, said Ashley. Don't you think so, Hank? I didn't know if it was a brilliant plan or not. But I did know one thing. It was our best shot. It was our only shot. Wow. Do you think this is a good plan? Is he going to do it? Is he going to get in more trouble? We'll see. Come back for chapter 13. See you then. Bye.